Hello, everybody. Here we are at Real Lives, Real People with Shyloe, and I'm coming to you today from the Blends Coffee Shop in Penticton. Why? Why, you might be wondering, why am I in Blends in Penticton? Why am I not at home doing this show from the comfort of my house? Well, I had to take my brother and his friends water today at the Grand Fondo Axel Merck in Penticton. So here I am. I've got a hat on so I could be easily identified. And I'm not in my usual dressy outfit today for you guys, but here we are. Today we are with Marianna Konsolos, and first thing I want to say is I love this woman. I love this woman because I met her at a networking event in Kelowna, and right away I felt a connection. She's from South America, Uruguay, and I've always wanted to go to Uruguay. I don't know why, but it seems like one of the best places to visit in South America. And we're just going to talk to her a little bit today about her journey on coming to Canada. Beautiful story. And I think that my Wi-Fi here at the coffee shop is not the greatest. So I'm hoping Marianna, with her Wi-Fi, will do a lot of the talking today, people. So it's good to see you all. Hello, Marianna. Welcome to Real Lives with Shyloe. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Shyloe. Thank you so much for having me today.
Great. You look like you're really nice and sunny where you're at in Victoria.
Yes, we are in Victoria, in a beautiful place, Cordova Bay. And we are here. Behind me is the water. I don't know if you get to see it. And we couldn't ask for better.
I am wondering if the lag I'm hearing on my end is your connection there. Is it worse because you're outside? Would it be better if you were inside? Because I don't know if it's on my end or not, but it's like I missed some of the words.
Okay, you want me to try go indoor? I'll try. Let me move my little table here and get up and in.
Maybe I could check on my phone and see if I could watch us, because maybe I will be.
Do you think this is better?
Yes, I think it's better.
Okay, so here we go. We'll be.
Oh, yeah, you sound great. Perfect. I don't know if I'm good or not, but you sound really good right now.
Okay, so
great.
Here we are.
Great, Marianna. So could you please give us a synopsis of the magical story about how you ended up in Canada?
Well,
because it gives hope to me and all other single women across the planet.
So I'm going to try to make it short. It's not a short story, but anyways, I'm going to tell you that I was in South America. I had a very comfortable life. I was having a real estate company. Let me move because my husband is here and I can hear him one sec. Okay, so I was in South America and I had a comfortable life but very empty at the same time. Let me finish to put this together. Sorry, but that's it. So
it's okay.
Anyways, one day I had a real estate company. I came from a very great sale, big house. And I got to my apartment, beautiful view, sunset there. My daughter was sleeping. The nanny had the food ready. And I opened my computer. I was alone. I didn't have nobody to share my success. I opened my computer, and on my computer show up on an app that I don't know if you remember. It's called ICQ. So it showed, hi. And I texted back and I said, do I know you? And he said to me, no, actually you don't know me, but I would like to travel to South America. Could you give me some tips? So that started a conversation that lasted for almost like 5 months. And this is very interesting because, we couldn't talk. People forget this was 17 years ago. It was no talking like we are talking now. We could only type. So we were typing, and the typing was very interesting because both of us speak Hebrew. So I was typing Hebrew, but in Latin letters. So it was like the sounds of the words. So we understood each other like that. So that was incredible. And after 5 months, we planned to meet each other in Cuba in a few months, in like 3, 4 months. We thought Cuba would be a neutral place, romantic place, and we thought that would be great. But one day after a month, I thought, what am I doing? Am I actually dating a screen? So I said, no way, I'm not gonna date a screen anymore. So I said to him, you know what? Either we meet now or we are like done. So he said to me, very honestly, like he is, he said, I cannot afford to go nowhere now. So if you want to come, you're more than welcome to come. So I said, okay, I'm coming. So a week later, I was in Canada to meet this guy. So, so this was online dating 17 years ago. So let me remind you, it was no Wi-Fi, it was no dating sites, and this app that is called ICQ was the origins of the WhatsApp today. But it was so this was so ahead of its time that I think it was Hotmail bought it out so they wouldn't compete with their future messenger.
Oh, I see.
So, it was amazing. So imagine when I decided to come, I have 8 very good friends, and we all got together, and everybody was like saying, are you crazy? He might be a serial killer. What if you go and you never come back? Another friend was very religious. She was like, oh, you have to do this. God will punish you. Another friend who was a atheist, and she was like, life is so short. You should do it. Go for it. Try everything. So, everybody actually was talking to from their perspective, from their fears. But my inner, like, GPS, that we all have one, said to me, what? Don't listen to their fears. They are their fears, not ours. So I just left and I went to meet this guy, and we are married for 17 years now.
That's so awesome. One of the things that I think is so cool is when you talk about your inner GPS and how you didn't listen to everyone else's fears.
Yes, yes. I think we all were born with an inner GPS, and that's our guts or the butterflies in the tummy or however you want to call it. But I think, in the traditional schooling and traditional everyday, you know, they're teaching us not to listen to that. They're teaching us to think with our heads and forgive our GPS. And I think, you know, I was always a very rebellious child, and I always listen to my inner GPS. And I think, when people say, "Oh, you're so lucky," or people, I don't believe in luck. I believe in trusting your inner call and doing the things that you need to do. And yes, I won't lie to you. I made millions of mistakes and I've been in hard situations, but I learned from them. And I don't think there is another way to learn other than to do. If you don't do, you don't learn for sure. So
That is so true. There's no other way to learn than to do.
yes,
So speaking about doing, Marianna,
yes.
what about the doing component of you ending up in Canada? How'd that go?
Sorry, I miss you. Can you ask the question again?
Sorry.
No.
I said, speaking of, the only way to learn is to do. Well, what about when you got to Canada? That was something you did. I know
Yes,
you want to talk a little bit about that.
yes.
So how did that go?
So, when I came to Canada, when I arrived to Canada, the first days, months, I would say a year, it was a very confusing time because it was like you're trying to figure it out things, you're trying to settle in a new country. It wasn't really doing much. It was more like, you know, like landing. It's kind of a weird kind of sensation. But anyways, after that, I decided, okay, let's go, Mariana, let's do something. I need to start my life. So, I started to write resumes, which I never did because I was always independent in South America since day one, which was hard to write a resume because I didn't know. So I went for help. I went to Catholic Social Services. They teach me how to write a resume. And a resume in South America is different than a resume in North America. Because in South America, you need to put your picture. In South America, you need to put your age. You need to put, your height, your weight, believe it or not. Yes,
What?
yes. And here it wasn't like that. So, you need to put your experience, your capabilities, your all those other things that, they are more important. But once I got some interviews, the first question was, so what's your Canadian experience? And imagine, I was new. So what Canadian experience could I have? I didn't have any Canadian experience. So that was a big barrier. Nobody will hire me because I had no Canadian experience. So I was lucky enough to have a teacher, an English teacher, who was a mentor to me, Elaine. And she said to me, you need to go in person, introduce yourself, and you just need to try to convince them, sell yourself. And I wasn't used to that because, you don't sell yourself in South America. It's considered like you're bragging if you're going out and you're telling all the good things you have and trying to introduce yourself in person. It's not acceptable. But, she said to me, that's your only way to get a job. So I got a job by a recommendation. So my first job, it's really important. When I was in South America, I was a realtor. I had a construction company and a baby store as well. So when I came to Canada, none of that experience was, you know, good for nothing actually, because nobody will recognize it because I'm not a lawyer that I have a title like I'm not a doctor. I'm not a so I just needed to prove myself that I'm an entrepreneur. So how do you prove yourself when you're new to a country? So
Yeah.
it was a really hard time because I was thinking that I came to Canada to improve my lifestyle, and I was feeling that I was going backwards. But at one point I said to myself, it is important to accept that the one you were in South America, it won't come back. That's it. The one that is in the Mariana from South America was left back in South America. And now you're the new Mariana in Canada and you need to start all over again. So it's like, start the game. So the only way to start the game is to start from the beginning. So what was the beginning? I found a job as a nanny for triplets from midnight till 6 in the morning. So that job was a job
Wow.
that nobody wanted to take, but I did take it because for me it was an opportunity. So the opportunity was
Right.
to be one on one, to speak with somebody who will help me to learn the language and give all the love that I had to these three little babies and help somebody that really needed my help. So when you change your mindset and you say, okay, I'm not going to be the super successful, the ego is gone, it's left behind. I'm going to be the useful person that I am because that's how I started when I was in real estate. I was very useful because I will be a very good realtor because I will consider the people that they were behind, in front of me. So I said, that's my basis. My basis is taking care of people. So I'm going to take the best care of these little babies and this mom that is desperate for help. So I stayed with this family for almost 2 years. Those babies, imagine, they were my babies. And I became in Edmonton the famous nanny, the best nanny for multiples.
Yes.
So everybody that was having multiples would give me a call and say, I heard you're the best. I heard you give your heart out. I heard that you do so many like things with the kids. So could you please come and babysit my kids? So that's what I teach my girls. Be the best in whatever job you do. If you are like sweeping floors, be the best sweeper. So everybody will talk about you. And that's who we are, you know, we do our best. After this family move, I decided that I need to go back to what I call, you know, myself, like the person that I was. I wanted to go into retail and I wanted to go into business. So I talked to my mentor, Elaine, and she's like, the only way to get out there is getting a job as a salesperson. And it doesn't matter how much they pay because probably they will pay you less than they pay you for the triplets. But you need to consider that as your university. Wouldn't you pay to go to university? I said, yes. So she's like, you're going to go to university. They will teach you everything about retail in Canada, and they're paying you on top. So you need to be very thankful if they take you. So, anyways, that's what I did. I got a job as a salesperson, and it wasn't easy even to get that job. You know, people were like very resistant when I show my experience and the things that I did. They were either consider me overqualified or underqualified. So, and honestly, the only job that I got as a salesperson, I got it. The manager told me it was because she feels so sorry for me because I was so annoying to her. I will call her almost every day to ask her if she look at my resume. So, you know, she hired me.
Good
So
for
I,
you, though. Good for
well,
you for doing that.
yes. And it wasn't easy because, you know, you feel like you're very annoying. And I never needed to go out and ask. I was used to be asked all the time because I was in a good position. So people come and ask you for things. You don't need to go and ask people to give you something or to help you, or it was the opposite. So really, again, you need to change your mindset. You need to be whatever you need to be. You cannot sit and say, "Well, in South America, I never ask for anything." Well, you're not anymore in South America. If you want to go back to South America, hi Shiloh.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I tried something to give us some better Wi-Fi and it caused an issue, but I can hear you better now because it was still going in and out sometimes.
Yes, yes, and I see you better now.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Great. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
No, no, no problem.
Okay. So you were partway through the story about um, the getting the job. She hired you because you had called her so many times, and then you were into that story more before we cut out.
Yes, yes. So, anyways, I worked there for again almost 2 years, and it was really hard, really, really hard because you become like it's a new jargon. You know, I work in a home decor store. That was what I did in South America. I did a lot of interior design, but here is a new jargon. You don't know those words, so when they will tell me go and grab a flute, you know, I will try to find a flute as an instrument, but they were talking about a glass that is a flute for champagne. So, you know, you feel like you're a total idiot. And you need to accept that basically you are kind of an idiot in that sense because it's a new language.
True.
It's a new environment. So, you know, it was
And
very hard.
and I remember you telling me people were not very tolerant.
No, no, they
Some people
were
were not tolerant.
no. So, you know, this is my one of my best stories and I think I should share it. One time I was at the store with my manager, and I think you heard this story. Yes.
I
So,
love this story.
yes,
Everybody needs
okay.
to hear this story. Everybody on the planet needs to hear this story. So I'm going to make sure that I write a note of like if the Wi-Fi is mixed up for the first part, that they got to come to this spot and hear this
Okay.
story.
Okay. Okay. So, anyways, I was at the store, and I was already like, even, I would think 5, 6 months working at the store. And I always manage not to answer the phone, because if there is one thing that an immigrant feels fear, is to answer the phone, because with the phone you cannot use your hands, you cannot point out, you cannot do nothing. You just, it's plain like if I understand or don't understand a word. So that's what it is. So, I avoid the phone. And that day I was at the store with my manager, and the phone rings. She is with a customer. So she makes a sign with the head like, pick up the phone. So I pick up the phone, and here is this lady. She's telling me that she is looking for something. I couldn't understand that word, in red. So the only thing I understood was she wanted something in red. So I asked her again and said, sorry, I couldn't understand. What are you looking in red? So she tells me again, and she tells me very slow. And again, I couldn't understand. It was a word that I didn't know. So I said, sorry, but I don't understand. So she said, why do you even answer the phone if you don't understand what I'm talking about? They should have people who understand English answering the phone, blah, blah, blah. She's really upset. I'm upset. So I said, sorry, I'll pass you with the manager. So I said to the manager, please, can you take this call? Because, she doesn't understand me. So, she takes the phone, talks to her, solve the problem. And then, another person came to the store, and then she calls me to the office. So, okay. So I go to her office, and when they call you to the office, it's not good news. It's usually, you're going to be, you know,
Fired or
yes,
reprimanded
yes,
or
or
like,
something like that. So anyway, she's like,
yeah.
how come you don't answer the phone? What that means? You never answer the phone? I said, no. Well, I'm afraid, because that's what happened. Sometimes I don't understand what people say. So she's like, you cannot work here if you don't answer the phone. How come, you don't answer the phone? We need people that they are like good for every job. And that's another one of the jobs that we need. And we need somebody to answer the phone. So, I started to cry. I'm feeling like, imagine myself talk, I'm an idiot. I cannot answer the phone. This is not for me. So I just left
That would
and
be
went.
super discouraging. That'd be
It,
so discouraging.
so I asked her to be dismissed. I went home. I'm crying. I told my husband, and I phoned Elaine. And Elaine is there listening to me. I'm saying to her, I'm an idiot. I should find only jobs that I don't need to speak English. So that will be way better. When I don't speak English, it's good, because I do my thing and nobody questions if I understand, I don't understand. So, I keep going and I keep going, and she keeps asking me, so what the lady asked you, and what the manager said, and what did you do? And she's asking me, she looks concerned. And then at the end I said, you know what, Elaine, I think the best is to quit. So she's listening, and she burst in laughing. She's laughing so hard, and I'm like, what do you think this is so funny? I'm an idiot and you're laughing at me? You shouldn't be laughing at me. So she said, you know what, I'm laughing? Because today is the best day of your life. I'm like, why? Why do you think this is good for me? She said, because today you know what you don't know. You don't know how to answer the phone. She said, do you think are you going to be able to live in Canada without answering the phone? She's like, no, how are you going to do appointments? How are you going to run a business? How are you going to call suppliers? How going to hire, a visa machine? How are you going to run a life without talking over the phone? So she said, the easier way, like most of the people will do, is to quit. But you shouldn't quit. What you should do is every time that phone rings, raise and pick up that phone. because that will give you the freedom to become the same person you were back in South America. You will be free, you will be not dependent on anybody, and you will learn something new every time. And yes, it will be painful because learning is painful. When you learn how to walk, you fell millions of times. So go for it and learn how to answer the phone because there is no life in Canada without answering the phone.
Or there would be a very limited life in
Yes,
Canada without
yes.
answering the phone. It would be like a small, very small life, very non-Mariana life, not a
Yes.
Mariana life. Yeah.
And you know what? It was so incredible because, I never thought about that. And every time that we want to quit or we want to run away or we want to, now for me, that's a sign. That is a sign of, okay, this is my new challenge. If I'm scared of this, I'm doing it. Because the question is, what am I afraid of?
Mhm.
It's
I mean,
not getting out of my comfort zone.
this is such a great analogy, right, with this phone for business and for life in general, living a full life.
Yes,
Most human beings would make the other choice. A good portion of human beings who are choosing to live a quiet life of desperation
yes,
don't answer the phone.
no,
They just don't answer the phone. They don't get on the bus when it comes. They
no.
choose not to ride that train.
No,
They
because
just
the
do the
fears
same thing.
and the stories and their narrative is telling that it's dangerous, that you shouldn't take, that you will be people want to accept you, or that is the fear. Because why was my
Mm-hmm.
fear not to answer the phone? It's not to be accepted. And you
Mm-hmm.
know what? This is me. This is me with lots of good things and bad things, like every person in the world. But I
Mm-hmm.
have lots to offer. And if I don't
Mm-hmm.
speak, if I don't answer the phone, nobody will
Mm-hmm.
know what I have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
it's,
love this story. I love this story, Mariana. I
and
love
I
it. It's
think
my
we
favorite.
all have phones in front of us every day. And some people choose to pick them up, and some people will call that luck. Some people will call
Mm-hmm.
that destiny. Some people will call inner call, GPS, whatever you want to call it. But we have phones all the time around us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's our
Well,
choice to pick up that phone.
yeah. In my personal circumstances, my phone that I picked up was when I quit teaching in December.
Hmm.
I've been trying to build this coaching business and speaking, for the last, I guess, 5 years or so. And I just decided that I was going to quit teaching because if I didn't quit teaching, Mariana, I could just fall back on teaching when things didn't work out. I could just change my mind in any moment and say, oh, well, maybe this isn't really for me. Maybe I don't really need to pick that phone up. I don't need to pick the phone up. No, I'll just I'll go back to doing what I was doing before and just pretend like it's not ringing.
That's
Let's just
it.
leave that alone.
It's the comfort
But
zone.
in, yeah,
It's the
but
known.
instead
It's the known. But
yes,
and change comes with gains and loss, and you need to know that. And the question that I always ask is, are you ready to lose everything? Because it might happen. It's 50 and
yes.
50.
Well, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. My narrative is, oh, maybe, like you get those niggling doubts. I have to be really vigilant. I have to tell myself, I'm not going to think that way. Clients will come, opportunities will come, money will come, people will come, things will present themselves. I can look at it, it can go both ways. I could keep telling myself, oh, I can't do this. I don't know if it's going to work. Well, how am I going to pay my bills? Blah, 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 blah. No, no, because you know what? Then that's going to become the reality.
Yes,
So instead, I choose the other potentiality,
yes,
the possibility, the
yes,
opportunity,
yes.
right?
And it's
But
it's
you're right. You
full,
have to accept
full
the
of
fact that it's
opportunity.
all, yes. And you have to, within that, like you were talking about before, you have to accept the reality.
Yes,
Sure, everything could go to shit.
yes,
It's true.
yes,
Everything could actually
yes,
go to shit. Am I willing to lose everything for this? I am.
yes.
I
And
am.
you see, and that's what I said, and I think we talked about this before. Are you hungry enough?
Yes.
Do you really desperately want to be successful in this? Do you really
Right.
need this to feel good with yourself? So
Yes.
You need to do it. You need to do it.
Yes.
And everything comes with a price tag. It has a cost, definitely. Freedom comes with a price. And
Yeah. Well, responsibility.
we always pay a
Responsibility. The only
price.
way to true, yes, but the price for freedom oftentimes is a really deep sense of responsibility.
Of
There's
course.
action that has to be taken,
Yes.
you know, at all costs when it comes to freedom. It's not just a handed to you on a platter.
No.
There's a
No.
deep sense of maturity, responsibility, and action that needs to be taken in order to have that, right?
And there is a word that I don't hear very often, and I believe in that word, and it's sacrifice. You need to sacrifice things. You cannot be lying in the beach and expect that your business will be great because that,
Right,
to me, it's a lie. It's a lie. I
right.
worked my butt off, you know. I worked
Yeah,
10 years like nobody would work. I did things that
yeah,
nobody would do. You know,
right.
it's funny. I was in Vancouver and, you know, I needed to dry clean my dress before the wedding. And I woke up at 6:30 in the morning and I'm looking online if there is anybody open at that time. And guess what? Yes, this Chinese guy was open at 6:30 in the morning. So who got my business? He was the one. And you know,
That's
all
right.
the other ones who open at 10, they miss my business.
Hmm.
So are you willing to do what nobody's willing to do? Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Because you know
Right,
what? It's lots of people doing the same at the same time, at the same hours with the same people. But there are some
yeah.
that they're doing
Well,
extra.
right. And so for me today, for example, I
Yes,
could have postponed the show. I
yes,
could have canceled the show. I could have told my brother, I can't help you out. I'm sorry. I'm
yes.
sorry. You're going to have to bike for 2 or 3 hours in the blazing sun, and I'm not bringing you water. I
No,
didn't do any of those things. I
no,
said, yes, I will bring you and your 3 friends water bottles at 2 different locations.
yes,
Then I will find a place in Penticton at a coffee shop. May not be ideal, but I will still do the show,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
Because that is the priority.
yes,
I am committed
yes,
to being consistent
yes,
with what I offer people.
yes,
So here I am
yes.
with my Saskatchewan University hat and everything.
And you know what, Shiloh? I think that is it. It's to be committed and doesn't matter how to get there, how to do it, you're going to do it. If you need to stop in the
Yeah,
middle of the way and you need to connect your phone or you do whatever you need to do, you'll do it. And that's the way I
yeah,
did it. That's the way I did it
yeah.
when I built the company and it was
Right.
nothing that will stop me. So, and you know,
Yes.
this is another thing. When when I came to Canada and I realized that I'm not going to be the same Marianna as before, it's kind of you feel trapped inside a bottle. It's like all this knowledge, all this Spanish that imagine I could speak in Spanish. I studied literature, philosophy, I studied architecture, interior design. I did renovations, I built houses, I built buildings, I sold houses. But all that knowledge came like imagine from the bottle, just from the top, few words in English, very basic ones. So I was perceived as a very basic person. So you know what?
Yes.
To accept that I'm a new person and that's the new Mariana, it's tough. It's hard because you
Right.
know yourself.
So I have a question then.
Yes.
Like I hear what you're saying in terms of losing that real like it's almost like you had this identity. You also had this knowledge and this highly developed intellect. Would you say that when you came to Canada, because of that not being able to be valued in the same way it was before, that it encouraged you to use your inner GPS more? Would you say that you developed it more being here or not really? I'm just curious.
Yeah. I think what happened is when you are complaining, when you're saying, "Oh, I'm not that person anymore," it's not adding any value to you, to anybody. The moment that you accept and you turn around and wave goodbye to the Mariana that was, and accept that this is the new Mariana, and that will be perceived as a basic person, but she will prove herself, building herself up again and following her passions because I always followed my passion, which was helping others. So yes, your inner GPS is more powerful now because you're hungry. You're hungry to become again the person that has influence, that can, help others in bigger ways. But you cannot expect to start doing that from the bigger place you were back at home. And I
Right.
think the most
But that
important,
Marianna, that bigger place was like, wasn't it all sort of like a persona? It wasn't really who you were necessarily, because who you are came with you to Canada. But that all that other stuff was like the part of the show, like what part of people, what they knew about you.
but you cannot show really who you are when your
Right.
mouth is so
Right.
small and
Yes.
your language
Right.
is so small, and the people
Right.
don't even give you the opportunity, because when you are, in a store, they don't talk to you deep stuff. They think oh shit. And that's what I said to people, when I had my own business, I hire all these immigrants that they super talented but with no voice. And the
Right.
biggest example was I hired a soprano for a party. It was an Italian party. And I hired a soprano from Italy who sing like you wouldn't believe. He is like a master of singing. If you hear him, he is like, what's his name? Carreras. He has a voice that you will die. And he was a construction worker in Canada because he was literally no voice. So, but I did hire him because I could see his potential without even, like I saw him singing and I saw his passion. And I hired Sharon, who is from the Philippines. And, she was cleaning houses when I hired her, but she was a stage manager in the Philippines. So imagine when she came to our store, the things she did amazing parties, and we had stages that people still talk about them. So all those
That's so
talents
awesome.
are forgotten because of the poor language. And
Yeah.
I felt that way. And when I had my own company, I hired all those talents. I had Gerardo, who was a very well-known photographer in Mexico. And here he was doing all my photography for my online
Yeah.
website. So imagine,
Yeah.
but this guy cannot speak. Even today, his English is
Yeah.
not the best.
Yeah.
So,
Marianna, it looks like we have a question here
yes,
from somebody who's watching. They
yes.
said, was it hard not to care what other people thought about your choices?
Well, you know what I think?
What?
No, I learned that from very young age. You know, I don't care what people think, because you know what? They don't sleep with me. They don't feed my kids. They don't, they are not with me when I'm down or when I'm happy. They're just talking. And you know how much they talk about me? I'm important for 30 seconds because everybody's looking their own belly button. So I'm concerned about myself, and you are concerned about yourself, and we are all concerned about ourselves. And honestly, I think that people don't watch at us more than 30 seconds. So I'm not going to live my life for those 30 seconds. I live across the street of the ocean, and since my daughter was 5 years old, I never went to the beach because I was concerned that people would think I'm fat. You know what? Nobody remembered that I didn't go to the beach. The only one who missed was my daughter and me. And you think I'm going to lose any other opportunities because of that? No way. No way. I don't care what people think. I'm going to do
Fist bump
whatever.
on that one. Fist bump on that one, Marianna. Well, guess what? Our time's pretty much up today.
Oh, okay. So
That
much to
fast.
share.
No, I know we got to do it again. I have one of my other guests coming back a second time. So we'll do this again for sure. We'll rebook again in like a month or two or something, because you have so much to share.
Yes.
I love listening to you, and I love you so much. I miss you. I wish we could hang out.
I love you too, Shyloe. You're a beautiful person. I love
Aw,
your
thanks.
energy. I love your wisdom. You're a very wise
Aw,
person.
thanks.
And I think
Aw,
your life
thanks.
story is amazing. Thank you, Cynthia, for being part of the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Marianna, if people want to get a hold of you, let's say they want to know more about your story, they want to spend some time with you or talk to you, how do they get a hold of you?
So I have a website. It's called mariannaconsolos.com.
Could
So
you paste that link in the comments after the show's done?
yes, it's
Okay, great.
mariannaconsolos.com. And you
Okay.
can also find me on my Facebook. And I think that's the best way to follow my adventures, because I'm like,
Okay.
I'm retired for the last 2 years, so we are trying different places in the world. And, I have lots of adventures to share, and it's a book coming up soon. So you will hear more about that on the website. So, yes.
For sure. For sure.
So I
Great.
think going on Marianna Konsolos on Facebook or either mariannakonsolos.com, that will allow you to be in touch. And I'm always a text away, I always say. Yeah.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming. And again, you've been watching Real Lives, Real People with Shyloe, and you can always find me on Facebook at Shyloe Fayad or at Plan for Joy, because guess what, people? It's time to start planning for some joy in your lives. And that's it today. Bye for now.
Bye bye. See you. Mwah. Ciao, ciao.
Okay, this always takes a while.